Jeremy Blossom. Also with us is Congressman Stephen King of Iowa, who questioned Corzine today. Jeremy, first to you, your reaction to Corzine's testimony.
You know, it doesn't shock me, unfortunately, but honestly, I think that Mr. Corzine needs to pay, literally, for his actions. And the fact that he has the audacity to simply say, I don't know, and I wasn't aware of what's going on, to me, makes the matter even worse.
How specifically, Jeremy, were you affected by the demise of MF Global?
Well, I'm a small business owner, and my job was to find investors who had confidence in MF Global and to advise them on certain investments that they wanted to be a part of. And so when MF Global failed, my clients lost faith in my company. They lost faith in MF Global. I lost out on a tremendous amount of revenue that was supposed to be coming in from that. And as a small business owner, I invested thousands of dollars to get my company up and running. And now, a month later, I'm dead in the water.
All right, Congressman King, so you have a guy who invested his life savings depending on MF Global. He sought out clients who trusted him, and he used that client money to send to MF Global. Lord knows what's happened to that money. What happens now?
Well, I think that this is something that should go to the Justice Department. As we listen to the testimony from Jon Corzine, I would tell you that I don't think I've ever seen a witness so well prepared from a standpoint of grooming to people behind him, to the whole scene, his family sitting behind him, his attorney sitting out of the camera shot, still within earshot, and he was reluctant to answer any question with a definitive response. I think if we'd asked him what day is it or does the sun come up in the east, we would have gotten some equivocating answer like we got when Congressman Tim Johnson asked him if he was willing to suffer some of the loss of this with his with some of the investors that he's brought into this. So now we know this. I mean, I'll say we are confident, at least we don't know, that the segregated funds that's been violated. That is a violation of federal law. And if we look at the pattern of Jon Corzine, he invested and lost. He lost $100 million dumping money into Lehman Brothers right before they went under. And if you listen to what happened when Chris Christie came in while he was being sworn into office, there were hundreds of millions of dollars transferred then that put him about $2.2 billion in the red as opposed to $500 billion in the black, as was announced by Jon Corzine. I asked him that. But we didn't get definitive answers. I think there needs to be a real investigation. I hope that justice is looking into this. It looks to me like there's got to be prosecutions. $1.2 billion gone, a man with a pattern of dealing with money in this fashion, almost compulsively investing into risky investments. And by the way, it was curious that they didn't invest in those sovereign wealth funds of Greece, but they did the other countries that were in trouble in Europe, as if they had some kind of knowledge that there was going to be a bailout that would make them whole.
Well, Congressman, he is a risky investor, but he's also a man with a lot of friends inside the Beltway, not only because he was governor and senator, but because he contributed a lot of money over the years to these people. Do you think that had an effect on softening some of the questions? I mean, we did play a real hardball question thrown at him, but most of the questions were not like that. Most of them were much more cordial, not the kind of hardball questions some people were hoping for.
Well, I was remarking on that, talking to some of my colleagues about it, and it didn't seem to matter that it was on Democrats and Republicans gave some deference to him. They were gentle in the way they asked him questions for the most part, as if somehow they believed that he'd been just caught up in this trap due to no fault of his own. I don't have that attitude about it, and I think that's you look at the facts involved in this. $1.2 billion missing, funds that are commingled. He says that he didn't direct it. He doesn't know who did do it. He does say he takes full responsibility as CEO. I try to imagine what would happen if my company had gone under in that fashion. I can tell you that I would have been a raging bull in my office finding out what went on. And he came with this act of contrition instead, and he said he's ignorant of what really took place. Why didn't he find out in the last 30 days before he had to come before Congress? Well, I don't think anything kept him from doing that.
Jeremy, you are somebody who did have skin in the game in this whole deal. Clients depended on you to invest their money wisely. What do you say to them now when you go back to those clients and they're asking where their money is?
You know, the first thing I tell them is simply that I'm sorry, and the second is that I don't know. And that's the hardest part, is that there's really no answers out there. And when I was trying to figure out what was happening, and I was calling MF Global every single day trying to find answers, and the people there were telling me they're leaving. Leave too, and try to take as much as you can away from MF Global. And it was a sad, sad time. So with my clients, I just try to tell them I'm in the same boat as you, and I'm there, and I'm trying to do the best I can to to find this money. And I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop until I find this money, and I'm going to kind of do the best I can to make my clients whole any way I can.
Jeremy, what happens to you now? You invested your life savings in your business. I guess it was called Alternity was the name of the business. You really put it all. You went for everything. What do you do now?
You know, I look at my 9-month-old daughter every night, and I ask myself that same question. I'm not going to give up. I'm young, and I'm going to fight. I'm going to move forward with a new company. I've moved over as much as I can to PFG Best, and I'm going to try to rebuild my business from the ground up. And that's the saddest part. Honestly, it's something that has hit me everywhere I can, in my wife's life, my kids' life, and in my personal life.
Best of luck to you, Jeremy. Jeremy Blossom, CEO of Alternity. We appreciate you coming on. Please come back and see us again. Thank you. Well, did Jon Corzine do himself